Welcome to One-on-One here at the Tisch WNET studio in the heart of New York City, Lincoln Center. We're pleased to welcome for the first time Chris Giamo, Executive Vice President, Head of the Commercial Bank at TD Bank. How you doing?
I'm good, Steve.
We're doing this around the holidays, 2017. Commercial banking, describe it. Does it mean business banking?
Yeah, it's business banking. I mean, essentially the commercial bank is all the commercial lending activities at TD Bank, as well as our corporate product and services area, which would be treasury management, deposit products, et cetera, and some specialty businesses that we run as well.
Describe the, quote, state of commercial banking in this region, because you cover New Jersey, you got New York, we got a big audience on Long Island as well. Describe what's going on.
Well, you know, the metropolitan area, I mean, New York's the financial capital of the world. So it's a desired market for every financial institution. So it's a crowded marketplace. It's a wealthy marketplace, but it's also crowded, so it's highly competitive. You know, this is a resilient economy in this region. Well, I think it's slower to fall into a recession and maybe quicker to come out. And there is a lot of resiliency. I mean, New Yorkers, New Jerseyans are tough people, and they find a way to make it through any type of crisis.
Where'd you grow up?
North Jersey, not too far, right on the other side of the George Washington Bridge.
It's interesting, as Jersey guys who do business in New York, in this region, what about your background and how you grew up prepared you to be in this top-level position in this incredibly competitive business? Loaded question, I know.
Yeah, you know, and there's probably a lot of answers to it, but I think anyone who comes from this area knows it's a pretty quick pace. And while people are very thoughtful, they're also not so thoughtful in some ways. So you got to find your own way. And I think hard work, effort, and making it happen are traits that you need to have that you can kind of carry into the workplace for sure.
In terms of knowing and understanding business or businesses, what are most businesses, from your experience, Chris, looking for when it comes to a bank that they're going to choose? What are they looking for?
Well, you know, I think you need that customer service no matter what it is. And we know on the consumer side that's critically important.
7 days a week.
But it's as important on the business side. And sometimes I don't know that business owners necessarily fully know what they're looking for, but when they receive it, they like it. And that's where you get the loyalty. And I think
What's the it, though?
I think it's the advice side of things. I think if
trusted advisor piece?
Yeah.
I like to call it that.
Well, we do too. And I think if you look at many small to medium-sized businesses, they don't have a board of directors. They don't have a lot of resources. And one great valuable resource they have is their banker. And that advice is free in a lot of ways. And, you know, one thing we see when we engage with our clients and dig into their business and have a better understanding for what their longer-term outlook is, we could provide a lot of value.
A couple things, by the way. I want to disclose two things. One, you happen to be my bank over on the Jersey side.
Well, we're happy to know that.
You could have called it stores.
That's
It's the
right.
store. I'm not even going to say where. And also TD happens to be a major underwriter of public broadcasting and our programming to fully disclose that. The other piece that I've learned about your bank is that there's a charitable piece. Talk about that and where those dollars go and why it matters.
Well, you know, I think if we look at what we're about, we say brand, model, and culture.
Brand, model, and culture.
Right. And I think the culture piece is a commitment to make the communities in which we work and live a better place. And part of what we do with the foundation is the monetary part, where we give a lot of monetary support to important not-for-profits and organizations and issues like affordable housing throughout all the communities that we're in. I think the part that differentiates us a bit is the volunteerism piece. We encourage our employees to get actively involved.
How do you do that?
In those charities. And I
How do you get that message out?
It's back part of the culture of who we are. I think it's a little bit leading by example. Interestingly, just recently, there were 2 events local. I know that you know, the show broadcast
We're seeing
locally.
in many states, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, et cetera.
We had in Long Island recently, Island Harvest Food Bank.
What does it say again?
Island Harvest Food Bank.
A nonprofit.
A not-for-profit.
What do they do?
We supported over 12,000 meals to be distributed. So we just didn't write the check for that. We had our employees help package those meals and distribute those meals. We did another event right around Veterans Day, a benefit concert to actually benefit homeless veterans in the area. Sad to know that we even have homeless veterans in our area.
Absolutely.
And we raise money for essential needs in conjunction, again, with a VA hospital and a local not-for-profit for boots, socks, underwear, just essential things that local veterans would need. And I personally was involved in serving some of those meals and distributing those goods. And that's the type of lead by example, and people rally around that, and our employees love it.
It's interesting, before I let you out of here, as a student of leadership, as you know, I ask this question of certain leaders who come in here. My book, Lessons, I'm not going to plug it, but my book, Lessons in Leadership, you'll see a whole section in there where I've asked people as a broadcaster in public broadcasting this question, two sides of it. Number one, Chris, what would you say the number one leadership lesson you have learned in your career professionally has been?
It's tough to say the first. I'll say this.
Out?
An important trait in leadership, if you don't have pride in yourself and in what you do, it's hard to have people to follow you. And, you know, I think that pride factor is when you do the right thing, lead by example, and then you try and find people around your team that have those same traits. Because I think in any industry, you're going to have the technical skill, otherwise you're not at the table. It's those qualitative traits that you need to perform well and, more importantly, to lead people.
The other side of it, biggest challenge you face, is it comparable to the same thing you just said? Biggest challenge you face as a leader?
Yeah, you know, it's always hard to make everybody happy and to lead a large organization in a competitive environment. And mixing that qualitative piece and the quantitative piece are very difficult. And that's always a challenge to bring together.
You love what you do?
I do.
Because?
I love our organization. I think it's a great place, and I think it, for what it stands for and what it actually does in the community and the service we provide. And I like growing, and we're a growth company. So we're always moving forward, and that's what excites me.
Finally, Chris, before I let you out, describe your market responsibilities. Where are you for the whole operation? Yeah,
well, TD's on the East Coast primarily, 14 states, so I have the footprint-wide responsibility for the commercial leg. Yes.
A lot of traveling.
A lot of traveling, but it's good to be in New York.
We are right here in the heart of New York City in Lincoln Center at the Tisch WNET studio, where a lot of great programming takes place. And we're pleased to welcome for the first time Chris Giamo, Executive Vice President, Head of the Commercial Bank at TD Bank. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Steve.
All the best during the holidays. We're excited during the holidays. Be right back on One-on-One right after this.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, Community Food Bank of New Jersey, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, Englewood Hospital and Medical Center, New Jersey Sharing Network, the North Ward Center, and by the Turl Fund, supporting Right from the Start NJ. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.